matters involving the assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salary, discipline, or resignation under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A14, and to have a briefing by staff members or consultants pertaining to the actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of Shenandoah County Public Schools under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A7, and for the purpose of discussing and considering several student matters involving the omission, discipline, or disclosure of information contained in a scholastic record of students in the Shenandoah County Public Schools under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A2.
Thank you, Dr. Shepard. Do we have a motion to that effect?
I move that the Shenandoah County School Board convene a closed meeting under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act in order to discuss and consider several personnel matters involving the assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salary, discipline, or resignation under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A14, and to have a briefing by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation or such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of Shenandoah County Public Schools under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A7, and for the purpose of discussing and considering several student matters involving the admission, discipline, or the disclosure of information contained in a scholastic record of students in the Shenandoah County Public Schools under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A2.
Thank you, Mr. Gotchall. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rickard. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? We will reconvene in closed session. session. And I would like to read the following statement. Okay. Do I have a motion to actually convene an open session?
Move to reconvene in open session.
Thank you, Mr. Goodchild. What would I do without you? Second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Rickard. All in favor of convening an open session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Let me read the following statement. The Shenandoah County School Board hereby certifies by roll call vote that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Shenandoah County School Board. Each member responds, I so certify when called. And Cheryl, are you going to call that roll call vote for us?
Mr. Street,
I so certify.
Ms. Carlenio,
I so certify.
Mr. Gutschall,
I so certify.
Mr. Vance,
I so certify.
Mr. Rickard,
I so certify.
and Mr. Barlow.
I so certify. The invocation and the pledge will be conducted by Mr. Street.
Thank you. I'd like to start off a moment of silence right now for Mr. Todd Lynn, please. Heavenly Father, we come to you for another school year, but with great sadness with the loss of Mr. Todd Lynn. Lord, we ask that you be, of course, with his family. Please be with his wife, his children. Lord, you tell us in Genesis as you created life, and you bring us such joy when you bring life into this world, and unfortunately when you suddenly take life away, it brings quite sadness. But Lord, we ask that you somehow, some way, find his family, to lean on you, to reach out for your lending hand, to be with them, to help guide them, to give them strength to get through this time. And Lord, not only his family, but Lord, we also remember and pray for others in these same situations of sudden loss of life, that for others in this situation that you be with them also. As you tell us also to lean on you so that you carry the burden. Lord, we also ask that you, at another beginning school year, that you be with our staff, our complete staff, to be able to provide a great atmosphere academically in the classroom or outside the classroom, to give our staff the ability, to give them the strength, to give them the support, to do the best they can to provide for our students. Lord, we also acknowledge that in our society, when we watch the news, it seems like sometimes that we're not a Christian nation. But Lord, we continue to ask us Christians, as we follow your word and your way, to continue to be a nation of Christians. Not only in our nation, but in our public and our school system. Give us the strength to go forward and the abilities to do our best as Christians. Lord, we especially ask another school year ahead of us that you provide the safety, that you keep our students and you keep our staff safe every day to be able to carry on. Lord, thank you as we walk in your will and your way, to accept, to have the courage, what you give us, and one day we'll understand. In the Lord's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda as it has been presented to us.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Gutschall. Second.
Second.
Mr. Carlini, I heard you. Second. All in favor of approving the agenda as it has been presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? And recognitions. Dr. Shepherd.
Thank you. I'm happy to introduce Miss Holly Stone, who is the principal of Ashby Lee Elementary School, and she is going to tell us about these wonderful students in front of her who have invested. They participated in the stock market game and really made some great gains in their investment. So, Miss Stone.
All right. Okay. This past school year, 4th and 5th grade students from Ashby Lee participated in a stock market simulation game. Each team started the simulation with $100,000 to invest. They worked as a team to research and select investments based on real companies using current data. Throughout the game, they had to monitor their stock's performance and make decisions about buying, selling, and holding stocks based off of their research. Through this process, they learned to analyze companies' performance and economic trends. The stock market game helped develop math, research, and critical thinking skills. At the end of the game, the teams were ranked based on their total equity in their portfolio. We had 6 teams participate, and they were ranked as the top 3 teams in our region during their competition window. Congratulations to our teams for a job well done. Tonight we have Aislinn Ramirez, which is right back here, Josie Foley, Caroline and Cora Logan, Leon Butterfield, and Luke Funkhauser. And I believe some of them have something prepared that they would like to say. Would you like to share what you prepared?
She goes first. She goes first.
They have some great, if you want to ask them questions, they can tell you about their projects. Yeah. Any
The
questions?
only question I would ask is, will you guys invest some of my money for me?
So can you tell them what you invested in?
Yes. You want to go first, Josie? No? Okay.
Did you guys invest in separate companies? Or did you invest
yes.
in like different sectors?
You'd have to explain that to me.
I'm guessing you probably invested in a company.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about some companies maybe you invested in.
Me and my partner, we invested in JetBlue, I'm pretty sure, Hershey, Google, something to do with Chromebooks, Apple, and I'm pretty sure that's all I can remember.
Good so far. Go.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Well, the only things I remember were two companies, NVIDIA and I remember the stock market like tag thing for this one, but I don't remember the actual name of the company. MSTR. I'm pretty sure it might be like MasterCard or something.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure we also invested in Apple, but for that, it didn't really do that good for us.
Interesting.
And last year, because me and my team also played a different team, but we also invested in Apple, and Apple's just not good stock for us. Don't hate on Apple.
They don't always go up, so there you go. So what were some of the things that made you invest? Did you like the company? Did you like their logo? Was it the right time of year to invest? What was the thing that made you jump up and say, I want that company?
Well, we definitely had to make sure that the company had an okay range. We definitely made sure. We searched up different companies. We were on like a stock app
Okay.
thing, and we searched up different companies. And some of the companies that we wanted to invest in were not doing so good. So we had to shift around.
I heard the key word research in there. So
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a good thing. All right.
So it's a good thing you invested in JetBlue and not Spirit Airlines. That would be really bad. Now, are any of you guys gonna be doing this when you are grown-ups? Do you guys want to study this in college or work in this or? No? That's honest.
The first thing I said when I found out is, ugh, why do we have to do this?
Okay, very honest. But see, because you got to win, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
How about you? You guys interested in doing this later on, or?
I personally don't really want to. It was sort of a hassle doing it, and I don't want to say it, but like sometimes we took a lot of chances. We were sort of like gambling with our fake money, and I don't think I really want to lose $1,000.
For other people's money, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Good job, guys. That's great.
So we'll take a picture.
Okay.
Congratulations,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, it is time for public and staff comments. And looks like we have 3 folks signed up to speak to us. We'll begin in just a minute. I'm going to give some general guidelines for how we did this, and then we'll jump into it. The Shenandoah County Public School Board does welcome public comment from county residents, parents, or guardians, as well as from current students and employees of Shenandoah County Public Schools. School board members do not respond to public comments during the meeting or the hearing. Each speaker may speak up to 3 minutes. The board generally allows up to 30 minutes. We're not going to need all that time tonight. Comments should address a matter related to our county schools, and complaints regarding division employees should be directed to the school principal or an appropriate school division official. The school board expects that each speaker will be courteous, modeling for our students how one can respectfully disagree with others' views. Speakers will address their comments to the entire school board and not to one individual board member, to the superintendent, to a staff member, nor to the audience. Speakers will not engage in personal attacks. So if you have already signed up, they'll have to give you guidelines for that. Looks like we have. Thank you, Mr. Shivey. I can actually read yours tonight, so it's legible, so thank you for that. And Linda Thomas Fowler.
Many politicians give lip service to protecting girls from boys participating in athletics programs intended for girls. But the actions they then take have exactly the opposite effect. Instead of protecting girls, it puts every girl under a microscope. The mindset, when it isn't rooted in animus towards transgender people, starts with the premise that there is no way a girl can beat a boy in an athletic event. It assumes that girls are always inferior to boys. While it may be true that statistically boys tend to be stronger or faster once the effects of puberty kick in, but it's not universally true. There is a very wide standard deviation. The overlap between the boys and the girls is significant, and except for elite athletes, the difference is not nearly as large as one might think. There are plenty of girls that could win an athletic competition against boys, and for prepubescent children, the statistical difference between boys and girls is smaller, maybe non-existent, at least for effects due to physical differences. The actual effects of policies like this will be to subject every girl that excels at sports to give extra scrutiny to them. Instead of being praised for her ability, she will be looked at with a questioning eye. People will think, that must be a boy. There's no way a girl can be that good. Let me remind you of Billie Jean King soundly defeating Bobby Riggs. Girls and women are that good, but your policy declares otherwise. This is the effect your policy will have. Girls that would have excelled will instead stay away because they don't want the negative attention. Transgender girls will again be told that they do not belong. Tell me how this protects anyone. Who is checking on these girls? How will accusations be handled? Is every girl going to be subjected to an inspection before being allowed to compete? If your reaction to that is revulsion, then good, it should be. But the question remains. You have a policy designed to invite challenges, and I want to know how you are going to handle it. Prepubescent transgender girls are no different than other girls. And if a child has been on puberty blockers, then she doesn't experience the physical changes that might make her a better athlete. Therefore, a blanket ban serves no other purpose other than to again make transgender students unwelcome in Shenandoah County, while making any girl who is larger, stronger, or faster have a target on her back. Do not enact this change. Remove Section H on athletics in its entirety. It is discrimination dressed up as protecting girls. It won't protect them. It will discourage girls from standing out. If you truly care about girls, then enact policies that truly protect all girls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Whitney Pence.
Good evening, Chairman Barlow, Dr. Shepard, and board members. As we begin a new school year, I want to take a moment to thank all of our teachers, staff, and administrators for all they have done and will continue to do to prepare our schools and our students for success. Tonight, I want to briefly highlight something our school division cannot afford to overlook this year: teacher retention. Here in Shenandoah County and across Virginia, teachers carry enormous responsibilities. They're not just educators, but also mentors and support systems for our students. At the same time, they are navigating increasing demands and often limited resources. Retention is not only about pay, though fair compensation matters. Retention is also about respect, support, and trust. This means we must back teachers when it comes to student behavior disruptions by maintaining consistent, fair discipline policies that prioritize both learning and safety. Listening to teacher input, protecting their time, and ensuring their voices shape our decisions and policies are powerful ways to show respect. Great teachers thrive when they are trusted as professionals, given the freedom to teach in ways that best serve their students. So let's commit to making this a year where teachers feel valued, heard, empowered, and supported. When we support our educators, we boost morale and strengthen our entire school community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Shivey.
Good evening, Dr. Shepard, School Board. I had a plan here, and I could just say, echo what she said, because Whitney hit every single thing I was going to say. So, but welcome back, teachers, staff, admin, particularly. I'll segue a little bit from what Mrs. Pence just said. But a big part of that is discipline in the schools. So discipline or lack thereof leads to disruption, it leads to distraction, and it leads to deteriorating test scores and atmospheres in the schools. And I talked to a lot of teachers on the southern campus, some who stayed and some who left, and pay wasn't the reason that they left. It was disruption, lack of discipline, lack of support, but that doesn't just come from inside the schools. I'm going to call out to parents to, all across the county and other counties and whoever's listening. Parents need to take more of a partnership in their child's education. Don't just show up don't just be reactive. If your child gets in trouble, the principal calls, then you get involved. At that point, I think it's already kind of too late. If you're proactive and you're involved in the beginning, I think that there'll be less disruptions, less distractions, less discipline issues, because if you're setting the example at home and working as a partner with our teachers and our administrators, everyone's going to flourish, especially your own child. So on that note, I wish everyone an excellent school year, and I look forward to not having as much teacher turnover this year with the excellent attention that I see has been given to, at least in our elementary schools. So let's keep up the good work, and let's have everyone have a great year. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anybody else who wanted to speak? All right, we'll move on. And now we'll consider the consent agenda. You've all been able to take a look at the minutes, approval of paid bills, donations, field trips, religious exemption, foreign exchange students, and the library book materials purchase list. Do I have a motion that we approve those consent agenda items?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda item.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rickard. A second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Carlinia. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not opposed. And we will move to the instructional agenda and the summer school report. It says 2025. That's a good year to take a look at since we're there.
Good evening, Dr. Barlow. You know, we'll just promote you a little bit this evening. Chairman Barlow, Dr. Shepherd, school board members. We're going to talk to you this evening about summer school from this past summer, and I wanted to start off with giving you a little information about what we had going on. So we did summer school for the month of June. We did 4 weeks, and we had attendance at the elementary level. We had 158 kids come, and at the middle school we had 114 students come. So pretty good. And also just to clarify, elementary was grades K through 4, and we go ahead and transition our 5th graders into the middle school to kind of get them a little bit of a head start into middle school. And so our middle school program had 5th through 8th grade. This evening, to help us hear a little bit about summer school, we have Jacqueline Rhodes, who was one of our coordinators that helped write the summer school program for the elementary, and she's an EL teacher at W.W. Robinson. And then we also have Sabrina Bauserman with us. She helped write the middle school program, and she is a history teacher at Signal Mound Middle School. And then we also have Nicole Gilkenauer with us, who was one of our administrators this summer at summer school, and she did that at Signal Mound Middle School. So, and she's a math teacher at Signal Mound. So I'm going to turn it over now to Jacqueline.
Good evening. So for elementary summer school, our theme was all in a day's work, the teamwork of community helpers. So our goal was to get the community involved as much as possible and kind of showcase different careers in the community that could potentially be possibilities to our students in the future. Okay. This is a sample classroom schedule for elementary summer school this year. So we had about 2 hours of language arts instruction and a little over an hour of math instruction. Our language arts instruction included daily read-alouds that went along with our themes for the day, writing activities, phonemic awareness, and phonics activities, decodable text, and comprehension. Language arts instruction was pulled from HMH and Haggerty, and math instruction was pulled from the CIP resources on the Shenandoah County website. This kind of goes over that again. Each day was reinforced by read aloud, STEM activities, videos, writing activities, and comprehension passages and questions. And then I'm going to go into kind of more detailed week by week what we did with the students. So week 1 we focused on services, including veterinarian, chef, postman, public works, and the library. This week included Vicki Lutz as a guest speaker. She came in to kind of touch on veterinary services and things related to taking care of animals, and they also went on a field trip to the Shenandoah County Library. Some samples of some of the work that students did. For example, for public works, we tied in articles on waste management. To go along with the chef career, we did passages and comprehension questions. Students were able to write letters and send them to the other elementary schools as pen pals. So they learned how the Postal Service works and how to write and address letters. To go along with the veterinary career, students had to look at symptoms of animals and use problem-solving skills to triage how they could assist those animals. Some photos from this week were the speaker, Vicki Lutz, bringing in her animals, their field trip to the Shenandoah County Library. Week 2, we focused on trades such as electrician, construction worker, mechanic, and hairstylist. Students learned how circuits work. They were able to do a writing that went along with mechanics as if they built a car, what they would do. They were able to do STEM activities to go along with the construction worker career. More activities to go along with the hairstylist career. Well, week 3 was healthcare. So we focused on physical health, dental health, healthy foods, and mental health. Some activities that went along with these were learning about perseverance, mental health of things you can do when you're scared or feeling fearful. We did a lot with dental health and healthy foods. Students were able to paint with paintbrushes and make smiles with teeth out of apples and marshmallows. Painting with celery during our healthy foods unit. And week 4 was safety themed, police officers, fire safety, water safety, outdoor safety, and internet safety. So just some things that they learned what police officers do, how to stay safe on the internet, things they could do to be safe in the water. We had a field trip to Seven Bend State Park. The park rangers talked about water safety, hiking safety, plant and animal safety, and the students got to do a lot of hands-on experiments with them. They also collaborated with Friends of the North Fork, and they presented as well. We had First Responders Day. We had Fire and Rescue, and Woodstock, Strasburg, and Mount Jackson Police Departments were at each of the campuses, and then Eric Hare came to the southern campus with a helicopter that landed there for the students. Okay, and that's all. Any questions for me?
Looked good.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good evening. So the middle school also did a very similar theme. We did Hometown Heroes, making the community better, and we focused on the same careers as well. We focused on trades, essential services, safety, and healthcare. So I'll let our professional who is there every day show you a little bit more about what the kids were doing each day and explaining some of those activities. So our week 1 was essential services.
So we had 2 guest speakers. We had one from the Virginia Department of Transportation, Scott Ambrose. He came and talked about the different items that the VDOT works with and how they construct their roads, how they keep up the roads. On that same day, we also had somebody from City National Bank. She came and talked about the different banking aspects they have, some of the new technology that they're incorporating. And the students were very receptive of both of these, very much for middle schoolers. It was amazing how many questions that they asked these 2 individual speakers. Then we also took a field trip to the Rockingham-Harrisonburg SCPA. The students learned about the nonprofit organization there. Also, they loved being able to play with the kittens and the puppies and learn about all the information they could from there. As you can see, they really enjoyed the animals. We also talked to them about grocery stores and farmers. We learned about the process of growing plants, and they actually were able to plant their own vegetables and see throughout the course of the 4 weeks how the plant process worked, and they recorded their observations. We also took it one step farther, and we let them go grocery shopping. And then after they went grocery shopping, we actually let them do a little bit of cooking. So they were able to do some measurements and see the process of baking as well. Week 2, we focused on trades. We had a guest speaker from Shenandoah Valley Electric Co-op. The students were able to learn the importance of the electric company and also the dangers and why it is important to, if you do see a power line down, to avoid it and to make sure that you contact everybody. And they were able to see how difficult it was. As you can see, our student there has the big gloves on, how difficult it is for those workers to do some of the items that they have to do in their everyday job. They also learned about construction, so they were able to take Legos and we made an epic house. So each group was able to build their own particular room and we built a big epic house. So they were able to see what all goes into the construction, how they have to have a good foundation, a good walls, and things like that in order to make their structure stable. And they went step through step. They drew out their blueprints before they actually went through and did the construction of their individual rooms. And we had rooms from kitchen to a game room to a pool room to a basketball court. They thought of a little bit of everything with that. They also did a little more with the construction, and they built bridges with popsicle sticks and rubber bands to see how much weight they could actually hold with the particular structure that they made. Week 3, we focused on health. We also talked about the importance of healthy snacks. So students were able to create their own snack, and they had to look up the calories and how much carbs and sugars and things like that would be in their each individual snacks. Then we also took it a step farther and actually let them make a healthy snack. We did some trail mix and some homemade granola bars, making them along the routes in the healthy snacks. And yet again, they enjoyed getting their hands dirty with the foods and all of that. And there's our finished product of the granola bars. Continuing with the health theme, they became fitness instructors for a day. They had to come up with their own fitness routine. They had to include cardio, they had to involve some fun activities, whether that be dancing, hula hooping, anything like that. And it had to be, I believe, about 3 minutes long for them to present. Then at Signal Knob, we actually did a book study along in our classrooms. We did a book study last summer school, and this continued on. It was called Brian's Winter, and the teachers were able to incorporate coming up with a vacation brochure along with the book study, and they were their final project for the book study. They made either a comic strip or a movie poster to coordinate with the book study, Brian's Winter. As you can see there, they're creating their brochures.
So as you can see with these first couple of weeks, we really tried to get as many hands-on experiences as we could, because students learn better not just sitting and hearing somebody talk the entire time, but actually being able to be involved in these and truly inspiring them to possibly go into these careers that we very much need every single day. So we're going to show you some more pictures of the rest of the weeks. Oh, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Great job. Thank you all.
I just wanted to say that the last 3 years, when the kids went up to the parks, when they looked at local history, when they, the county winds up being too much of a mystery to us, people who move here, even the come heres. and so it's I think it's important early on to get a sense of infrastructure, whether it's social, economic, industrial, agriculture, just to demystify it a little bit. I mean, it doesn't have to be a great accomplishment, but seeing how a farmer goes about his day's work, or seeing how somebody in the health field does something, and so you're not afraid of what's in that building or what do those people do. And I think that at the elementary and middle school level, that's really a good way to kind of get them to be interested in and less scared of the whole system and just kind of stay at home. So I like the fact that the trend has been to get out and about around the county and find out what it's all about.
Yeah, we try to balance it with the instruction and then
Yeah.
things that make being at school in the summer not so painful.
Yeah, that's good. So
yeah.
anyway,
Thank you.
thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. All right, moving to the informational agenda, and we have a new regulation in place. Dr. Shepard, you're going to tell us about the appeal process for review of final grades.
Certainly. This, the regulation presented here is, outlines the process for a parent or legal guardian to appeal a final grade. The appeal starts with the teacher and then moves on to the principal and then to the superintendent, who will have whose decision is final. On August the 11th, our attorney weighed in on the regulation and made a few modifications, which have been incorporated in the draft regulation with recommended attorney revisions, which establish legitimate grounds for a grade appeal, which include clerical or calculation error, misapplication of grading criteria, procedural irregularity, or discrimination or retaliation. And then also it added a brief ADA section 504 and IDA carve out so that the process doesn't limit disability rights for our students with disabilities or 504. So the draft regulation establishes a clear process for addressing final grade concerns and ensures that the results or the grades are resolved in a timely manner. I think when calculated, the number of days was 35 days that it would take to actually go through the entire process if you had to go through all of the appeal processes. So happy to answer any questions. If the school board does not want to, does not have to act on this because a regulation can be developed by a superintendent, but if the school board wants to, then they can act on this regulation.
Questions for the superintendent on this one?
So when would it be, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, so when would it become finalized? Today, like it would become?
If the school board does not request for, to have approval on this, then the regulation will be put in place tomorrow.
I just had a comment, not a question. I wanted to thank Dr. Shepard. It looks very thorough and looks like she put a lot of time and energy into it, so thank you.
I want to concur that the rapidity with which you did this was pretty astounding, so thank you for getting on it so quickly. I think it is something we need and needed, so it's good that it's there and finite and we can turn to it. And also for having, I think, the wisdom, discernment to send it past the lawyer who made a few good catches that makes it a little bit more comprehensive and bulletproof. So I think I commend you on a quick but quality job on doing this, so thank you. The next item is information on the new regulation and forms for policy, privacy, dignity, and respect for all students and parents in Shenandoah County Public Schools. So as an informational portion, this is before us now. Dr. Shepard, you going to give us any guidelines on this?
So this regulation actually puts practices in place for both policy GBAB, JFHAB, privacy, dignity, and respect for all students and parents in Shenandoah County Public Schools, and policy INB, teaching about controversial issues, on when school counselors or any number of those people that were identified in policy INB could talk with students about gender issues. So the policy actually puts the process in place. Again, I sent this to our attorney for his input, and on August the 11th, he provided suggestions to address the compliance with the Virginia Board of Counseling regulations and the potential FERPA concerns. And then he also clarified the term parents, which included parents and legal guardians. So the draft regulation GBAB-R, JFHAB-R, or INB-R with attorney revisions that are attached to this agenda item would be the regulation that would be implemented tomorrow if the school board does not want to actually approve this, because the superintendent can approve a regulation.
Right, so, a question I have is, are you, now, I know that we've been given this, we've seen it's in its development. Are you're still receiving, input from the school board on this, or is this up for, not decision, but implementation?
If there is no additional input from the school board this evening, then the regulation will become a regulation tomorrow morning.
Okay.
And we'll put it in our policy manual.
So there's still 11th hour ability to make comments to the superintendent on the regulation, but if none are forthcoming, what we see is what we'll get in terms of issues. Thank you.
I've got one question. I just wanted to make sure I heard you clearly. The regulation you're going with is the one that has the attorneys. Okay, thank you.
It says with attorney revisions, yes.
Thank you.
5.3 information agenda is to carry forward fiscal year 2025 CIP. And I see Kaylin is approaching the microphone to make us all smarter. Well, that's a tall order.
Good evening, School Board, Dr. Shepherd. You may remember that we had a CIP last year of $3.3 million. We also carried forward about $828,000 from fiscal year 24. Our facilities and construction crew was hard at work this year, and we completed almost all of it. We do have a remainder of about $1.3 million that is not yet completed. There was an attachment included with this memo detailing those projects. This is for your consideration at a future meeting to just carry forward these projects so we can get them done and completed. I'm happy to answer any questions on this one.
So we don't need any board of supervisors?
We do need board of supervisors approval. After you approve, I will need to take this before the board of supervisors.
And will that be at our next meeting, or is that for action this evening?
It is not for action this evening.
Okay, so the one for this evening is the 2026 special budget, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, any questions? Thank you, Kayla.
Do you want me to talk about the next one? The next item is to discuss the appropriation and the increase of a special budget. We received an additional grant, or an increase onto a grant rather, in the amount of about $11,000. We also have remaining funds from last year that we haven't yet spent. The total appropriation increase to the special budget is $23,726. These are reimbursable federal funds. We are asking for action this evening as these funds need to be spent by September 2nd. Happy to take any questions. All right. Thank you.
We're moving into action items now. We have before us recommended personnel list. We have a motion to accept the personnel list as it has been presented.
I move to approve the personnel list as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Rickard. Is that a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Vance. All in favor of accepting that personnel list, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? None opposed? And now we're moving to proposed revisions to policy JFHAB, GBAB, privacy, dignity, and respect for all students and parents in Shenandoah County Public Schools. Do I hear a motion dealing with this action item?
So I move to amend the policy JFHAB, GBAB, privacy, dignity, and respect for all students and parents in Shenandoah County Public School as presented.
All right. And Cheryl, you have the motion down there? Okay.
Just make sure, I heard I moved to amend. I know what you're saying, but I moved to, just make sure we get that, because there's nothing to amend on the floor. So, but just a straightforward motion, and you'll be fine.
So don't read it like this?
No, just say I moved to.
I moved to, take out the amendment, okay, I moved to.
Sorry, but the devil's in the details.
Well, even though the it's an amendment to the policy?
The policy's in existence.
Yeah.
It's already there. You're moving to make it different, a change to it.
Revise maybe?
Revise, yeah. But
Okay.
I need to be on Robert rules.
Yeah, we do, but.
Because the amendment is a way of changing a motion.
Okay,
So,
yeah. So then,
it's sure semantics, but that's the ones that might change.
no, and I agree, because then we may have an amendment to the policy itself, so then that will come after.
Yeah.
So then, okay,
So
yeah.
bring the motion out, I move to
Revise, okay.
whatever you said, and
I move to approve, changes to the policy JFHAB, GBAB, privacy, dignity, and respect for all students and parents in Shenandoah County Public School as presented. Got it.
Good, okay. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Rickard. Discussion. So, Mrs. Carlinio?
Well, so we had some back and forth and got some information. I think Mr. Barlow, you requested some. I had some questions as well for our legal counsel regarding this. And from that, we got some language that may be better and would actually be acceptable in terms of the legalities and questions of this amendment. So I would like to introduce this amendment. And I actually made copies of this. Before I read them. Should I let them read or should I go ahead and read it now?
however.
Okay. And also, it's two different amendments, so two different parts of it. Should I do them all in one amendment or should they be discussed separately?
It's two different ones. I mean, you almost just gotta pick one and.
Do the first one and then do the second one?
If the first one passes, then you're done.
Okay. Well, it's two different, so we're amending the whole thing.
Okay. Alright, so you're gonna have two different, okay, I'm with you. So
Yeah.
amendment one,
Okay.
where I go, yes.
Alright, so I'll do that. So I'll do amendment one, and that would be, to the very first, to the first of Mr. Rickard's amendment, hold on. So the amendment would be to read, for 3.H.2, would change the language to say, for any athletic program or activity that is designated for female athletes, and this is where the change comes, where competitive skill, safety considerations, or the preservation of equal athletic opportunities would be materially affected by physiological differences between the average members of each sex, no biological male shall be permitted to participate except to the extent as required by applicable law. Cheryl, do you have one of these, or?
Yes.
You have.
So is this amendment going to be a part of the original first motion?
I would break it into two. I would amend your motion to include verbiage of amendment one and discuss it, and then do amendment two, because I'm reading they're two separate items.
Yes, two separate
It's the
paragraphs.
intent, correct?
So what?
So that's the intent, they're two separate.
It's two separate paragraphs, and
Yes.
there will be both of them would be amended.
You've got your motion, now someone moves to bring amendment one, and then I'll discuss it, and then you'll vote, and then once that's either yay or nay, then you'll swing in and pick up amendment two. So it'll be, basically you've got your motion, and then you're constructing amendment one, and then amendment two.
Got it, thank you. So that will be amendment one.
And so Ms. Carlinio is allowed to make an amendment to her
Correct.
original motion?
Yes, yep, she can amend her, she can put.
And she has made that motion, or the motion.
She, yeah,
for
she
amendment.
put
Okay.
the big motion out there now.
No, I mean, the amendment to that. Have you made that motion yet?
Yes, it is.
I'd like
Should I
to move to
restate
amend,
it?
yeah, I move,
Okay, let me restate it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I move to amend the first paragraph, 3.H.2, to read, for any athletic program or activity that is designated for female athletes, where competitive skill, safety considerations, or the preservation of equal athletic opportunities would be materially affected by physiological differences between the average members of each sex, no biological males shall be permitted to participate except to the extent as required by applicable law.
All right. And do I have a second to that amendment?
Second.
All right, Mr. Ricker, thank you for the second. Discussion.
Okay, so this, like I said, this came about from some of the discussions that we've had with council, and this was proposed language that would best pass the constitutional muster and the potential of litigation that we have. One of the things that we have right now that is a concern is that with the current policy that we have, we are not allowing girls to participate in sports that are separated by sex, such as football and wrestling or baseball. So, that's something that we had talked about before, that was not the intent of our policy, so this actually clarifies that. And at the same time, it kind of reiterates the sentiment of this board, which had said that it wanted to make sure that biological males were not participating in girls in this kind of sports where the athletic opportunity would actually be affected by the physiological differences between the two sexes. So basically, this is just I'm passing along the results of what that inquiry into the legality of our original, the original motion that we were going to be discussing from Mr. Rickard. It actually amends that to read with the appropriate language.
Other discussion on the amendment?
I believe this does a good job of covering.
Sorry. Hold on, Mike, I'll get right up to you. Is there anybody with an opposing point of view on that, and then we'll go back and forth? Is anybody?
Yeah, so I prepared some comments tonight for this.
Now, I don't want to interrupt you, but this deals with the amendment itself, rather than the larger one. So we're just
Okay,
voting on
yeah,
that.
I'll wait then.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I like the way this is worded after the attorney weighed in and gave his opinions on it. I think this covers what I was looking to accomplish.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, I have a comment, and that is that when the lawyer, by the way, our lawyer did suggest that addition as an alternative that he didn't recommend as much as his key recommendation, which was if we maintain our position with the policy that we passed last April, that we were less likely to invite attention and litigation, and that course, that model, that policy would be sound and preferable in most instances. I would recommend maintaining their current policies, he said. Should the board wish to move forward with a specific term protecting female athletes, I would recommend the following qualifying language. And he added word for word the amendment that Mrs. Carlinio has just suggested. But since that is not his preferred option, but a second option, if we wanted to go down that road, he is suggesting that will invite attention, litigation, and he would find the original policy to be sound and preferable. Based on that, I'm inclined to vote against the amendment. Any other discussion?
So I can, if nobody else can go. Well, this is, like I said, this is very interesting that we're discussing this again, especially because we just recently, and I believe it was last month, passed a resolution unanimously that basically demanded that the EHSL implement this exact language into their policy. In fact, it read that we wanted them to implement enforceable policy and guidance that does not allow biological males from playing in women's sports. So again, as I said before, we demanded that another organization do what we ourselves are not trying to do, which to me, it's beyond belief that we're actually even doing that. The fact of the matter is this is a very binary discussion that we have in our hands. Either you're on the side that is literally hell-bent in promoting gender confusion among the innocent children and destroying their lives, or you're on the side that wishes to protect its children from being forced to play and have to compete against other males. We've heard a lot of excuses about this. Now we're hearing a new one about what Mr. Butler said, which again, if we read the memo, it actually says that not only was the language that Mr. Rickard suggested in compliance with the Trump executive order, but it even says the current policy as written and applied would likely ban girls from participating in football, baseball, and wrestling if applied uniformly. So that is why he actually suggested the additional language. Now, I keep hearing about this would open us to litigation. Virtually everything we do from this data is opening it up to that. That we're willing to take the risk in some areas, but not willing to take steps where we're actually protecting children, to me, is absolutely repulsive. I've heard also that this is duplicative because the original policy stated this. Well, no, it isn't. And we have his analysis right there saying that it did include some. I mean, if it was duplicative or if it was something that we didn't need to do, then we wouldn't even be here right now. The fact of the matter is that we cannot simply rely on the EHSL policy. I mean, if they did it and it was legal for them to do it, why isn't it legal for us to do it? But more importantly, we're talking about we are an elected board. It is our job to actually do this, and to have to be relying on the whims of a private organization, to me, seems very, very out of place. But finally, like I said, the language of this current policy is not sufficient. I mean, we are banning those girls from playing those sports when we have always allowed that. And the attorney said, yes, if a girl is already on a team, then they're going to be allowed to stay in a team, but for future reference, then that would not be the case, because that is the policy that we actually passed. Now, I have absolutely no problem with amending the language of Mr. Rickard's proposed amendment, and we do have, there's a couple of things that our attorney didn't mention, but we had a discussion on this, and I think you guys have that information as well. There is a Supreme Court case right now the Supreme Court has agreed to decide on a case that will literally ban transgender students in high school sports from participating on female sports. That decision should be coming up shortly, probably in 2026. And based on the recent decisions that we have from the Supreme Court, they have already upheld a Tennessee ban on transgender care for minors, and they have also upheld President Trump's executive order banning transgender individuals from serving in the military. So while I believe that Mr. Rickard's original language would have been compliant with the law, if we want to be safe and just use this other language, I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, in the end, this is about having the courage to be a leader and doing what is right, not what is easy or convenient. And that courage is going to be measured by our actions, and not just empty words or passing resolutions that are ordering or demanding that other people do what we ourselves are not willing to do. If board members really feel strongly that this is a fair issue, then we should go ahead and adopt this language that our attorney has already provided us, and just, protect the innocent children. And I wanted to add something because I keep hearing about this. I was a female athlete once. In fact, I'm the only one here who was a female athlete in school. I did gymnastics, I did track and field, I did some volleyball, but my main sport was judo. And, I was an undefeated champion in judo. Never lost a match. Whenever I had to, because we didn't have enough girls in our team, a lot of the times I had to practice with other guys. I was 15, 16 years old, so we were barely, out of, puberty. And yet, I can tell you that if I had been forced to compete against biological males my age at that time, there's no way that I would have been, that I would probably have won. I mean, the reality was that they are stronger. And I can only imagine all the stress and the hardship that we have, given a lot of these girls who have spent their whole entire lives training for a sport and then have to be, forced to compete against these males, lose, and see, all their opportunities go away. I mean, we hear these stories all the time, or at least I do, because I care about this. So, if we're going to be a board that says that we care about this, and we're going to be a board that passes these resolutions, demanding that other organizations do this, then the least we should do is do it ourselves. And I think this language that Mr. Butler has provided accomplishes that, at least for the time being.
Other comments on the amendment? I want to make a couple of quick comments, and that is that what our current attorney has warned us against is that if we abandon the concept of gender neutrality and of equal protection clause, the way Title IX is being implemented now, we are very likely to have a target on our backs for litigation, and especially in light of kind of the strong stances we've taken on other positions, are likely to incur that. Not that we shouldn't do it if it were the right thing to do. Everybody on this board is in favor of keeping men out of women's sports, and to be able to do that, but we need to do it within the guidelines of the law. And that has been worked out as best we can by our governor, by the Attorney General. That concept has been approved to, or at least recommended to us, by 3 lawyers over the last year that we have hired for this. And as far as the VHSL policy, it's that's one part of the piece that we're trying to deal with. That's why I recommended that we work strongly and pass that resolution that that we would work toward that end. So nothing more now than asserting one more time that our leadership in the state and the legal recommendations of all 3 of the lawyers we have retained are to stand firm behind the policy that we passed April of last year. Anything further before we call for the vote? Any further discussion on the amendment?
I'm stuck on your words right now that the entire board is on board with this. However, what I heard was we're not willing to put the verbiage out there. However, I believe, if I'm correct, it was you that penned the resolution to VHSL.
It was.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Let me explain. we deal within a series of laws and regulations. Right now, the VHSL has certain authorities and certain policies. I'm happy that they've accepted the Trump executive order. I'm happy that they are, that they have gotten machinery in place to do that. And the resolution was to urge them to go even further. And once the law's further on our side, we can let it lean further forward. But until that happens, I'm not going to step out in front of the snowplow. You can run over. I'm going to stay behind. That's my recommendation.
Point of order. I have a couple of questions. Because one of the first one being VHSL is a private organization. So I have two questions. One is, how can you demand that an organization do something that we ourselves are not willing to do? B, is VHSL exempt from the law? And if it isn't, how come VHSL can take these steps and we can't?
VHSL has an interesting relationship with Shenandoah County Schools. It does a lot of the roles have to do with sportsmanship, have to do with how we carry out athletics, and everybody, not everybody, we all in this, everybody in the school system knows that they perform a very valuable service for us. It doesn't mean that everything that they do is something we agree with. As a matter of fact, last year, before they had accepted before there was an executive order, we had a dilemma, because when we play sports, we play games, we had to decide whether we were going to forfeit the game if we were playing against somebody that had a male playing in a female sport. And so that organization has made strides at coming further to what I think is our personal preference. But and so the idea is to move them even further along. But right now, what we have to deal with is not VHSL as much as it is with the law as it stands and as we're going to be held accountable for it. And I have, again, this is the third of 3 lawyers who say the greatest protection for us in being able to protect our girls in sports is the Youngkin model policy, which again, we passed in April last year. So,
I'm sorry, you did not, I'm sorry, with all due respect, but you did not answer my questions. My question was mainly, if the law, does the law apply to us but not to VHSL? I mean, it's 2 different sets of law, and again, if this is illegal for us to do, how could we demand that the VHSL do it?
Well, we don't make laws.
Well, I understand that, but that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but we deal with laws that are passed. And the law, in interpretation of the laws, Title IX, Equal Protection Clause, means that we have to toe the line as far as how that law is being interpreted. And we've had all 3 lawyers have recommended we do this, as well as the Attorney General, as well as our governor. Now, I can't supersede what they do, and the Department of Education hasn't told us to do anything different or recommended we do anything different. Okay. So I'm saying the smartest thing for us to do is stay with the recommended course from those authorities and do our part in keeping our, as far as I'm concerned, our girls safe, our sports on the up and up, and to keep ourselves away from litigation that would come to us because we are abandoning that concept of gender neutrality.
So again, I also read what Mr. Butler said, but I think you're still not answering the question. So am I to understand then that what you're saying is that what we're proposing is illegal, and what you propose that the VHSL do is illegal, so we actually pass a resolution having VHSL put themselves at risk of litigation? I mean, is that what you're saying, that when we passed that resolution, we were actually asking the VHSL to not follow the law?
What we asked them to do was to be as crisp, clear, and understandable as they could be in explaining to us what their policy is. That's what we asked.
We said that they're committed to following President Trump's executive order to keep biological men from playing a women's high school sports team. So we are doing the same thing, but you're saying that it's not prudent for us to do it, but it's prudent for us to ask the DHSL to do it.
It's prudent for us to follow the law, and it's prudent for us to expect that DHSL is as aggressive as they can in laying out a precise and in a discernible way that their regulation is to be followed.
Okay, so again, it didn't really answer my question, but let me ask you a question then. How does the language from Mr. Butler that we're actually discussing right now not follow the law?
Well, he sent us 4 pages worth of information, but he said when he got to this amendment, which is all we're discussing right now, that the course that would be sound and preferable would be to follow the policy that we passed last April. Period. Now, he said if
That was some period.
he said, well, I would recommend maintaining the current policies. Should the board wish to move forward with a specific term protecting female athletes in age 2, I'd recommend the following qualifying language. But he indicates that this is more likely to invite outside attention and litigation. So
I'm sorry, let me finish that sentence because you actually didn't read the whole thing. He says, I would recommend the following qualifying language be added to strengthen the division's legal position.
all right. Are we ready to vote on the amendment as has been presented? It's amendment number 1 as presented by Mrs. Carlinio. And Cheryl, I guess we're ready for a roll call.
I'm going to read it again to make sure I have the wording right, okay? I move to amend the first paragraph of 3.H.2 to say, for any athletic program activity that is designated for female athletes where competitive skills, safety considerations, or the preservation of equal athletic opportunities would be materially affected by physiological differences between the average members of each sex, no biological male shall be permitted to participate except to the extent as required by applicable law.
That's great.
All right, Mr. Street,
No.
Ms. Carlinio,
Yes.
Mr. Gutshaw,
No.
Mr. Vance,
No.
Mr. Rickard,
Yes.
Mr. Barlow.
No. The amendment 1 has been defeated. Are there any other amendments?
Yes, I have amendment 2. So I move to amend 3.H.3 to read, no student athlete or coach shall be compelled to participate in any athletic program, event, or competition where participation by individuals of the opposite biological sex is permitted.
And is there a second to amendment 2?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rickard. Discussion.
Yes, so again, to those that care, this is actually the language that Mr. Butler actually suggested, because as he, for all those who read the extensive memo that he provided, you will know that what he expressly said that he took issue with in this particular paragraph was the fact that it was treating the sexes differently in terms of who can cross over and who cannot, because it was legally risky and opens an avenue for a legal challenge which we would not have otherwise. So the very simple solution was to simply say, no student athlete or coach shall be compelled to participate in any athletic program, which would include not just girls being forced to compete against biological males, but if there is a male that does not want to participate against a biological female for whatever reason, maybe religious reason or any other moral reason that they may have, is not compelled to. So again, this is about trying to protect our students and trying to protect their rights to say, no, I don't want to do that. I think the language, again, is pretty straightforward, and I guess we'll have to see how this one goes.
So, Cheryl, do you have the second amendment properly recorded, correct?
I move to amend 3.H.3 to say no student athlete or coach shall be compelled to participate in any athletic program, event, or competition where participation by individuals of the opposite biological sex is permitted.
Thank you. And we have a second, and we have had discussion first. Anybody else have any comments on Amendment 2?
I have one question. Who could compel? Who could force?
Well, we've had several areas where other athletic organizations, I guess it would be the equivalent of the VHSL, some of the other ones that have actually punished the students that refuse to play against a biological male. Some of them have not been allowed to go to additional competitions, or they have been reprimanded in other ways. So we have seen this around the nation in many, many other areas. So what we're doing is we're trying to prevent that from happening here.
In the Commonwealth of Virginia, this has occurred.
Yes. I mean, I don't see that it's happened here in Shenandoah County, but it's happened all over the country. So what we're saying is, if by any chance, because right now, you know, we did pass the other one, so we could potentially have a biological male that could be, you know, playing at one of the sports. If the girl knows about this and does not want to compete against them, they should not be penalized for not competing against that student.
The same could go the other way.
And the
when
same,
it comes
exactly.
to wrestling.
Right.
You may have a biological male that may not want to wrestle against a biological female.
And I have seen that as well.
Okay, so we had a question, we had an answer. Any further discussion from the school board?
Again, I think the attorney did a great job of rewording that to cover everybody. It was something I hadn't even thought of, about a male being compelled to wrestle against a female. So again, I think he did a good job. I think we should be in support of this.
I think he did a great job too, and he said I would recommend maintaining the current policies. So that's all I have to say. Are we ready for a vote? Cheryl?
Mr. Street?
No.
Ms. Carlinio?
Yes.
Mr. Gutschall?
No.
Mr. Vance?
No.
Mr. Ricker?
Yes.
Mr. Barlow?
No. So Amendment 2 fails on a 4-2 vote. And so we default back to the original motion. And Mr. Carlinio, you made that motion, so do you have anything you would like to say?
Well, I just want to say I do believe, as I did last year, that we're failing our girls, and right now, as our policy stands, they can't even participate in football or wrestling or any other sport as they have in the past. And the fact that we refuse to actually fix that, as our attorney actually even suggested, is actually very, very disappointing, but like I said before, it's very telling.
Thank you. Mr. Vance?
Just a point real quick. Dr. Shepard, can a female play football?
Yes.
Well, that's not what Mr. Butler said.
Actually, he said he didn't know what
No,
sports
he
we had.
said that as it stands right now, that is not allowed. It says it in his memo. Since you read it, you should know.
He said he wasn't aware, well, someplace else then, he said he wasn't aware of the sports that we have and how we designate them.
Yeah, but he said as it stands right now that it's not allowed.
Nevertheless, okay, so the
And
answer
this-
is that they can?
No, the
And
answer is
also-
the current policy as written and applied would likely ban girls from participating in football, baseball, and wrestling if applied uniformly. And we just passed a policy with that information on I mean, that's exactly what we were actually debating. So the fact that we voted against that would go to the reference that if anybody wants to bring it up, we can point to this school board meeting on August 14th, 2025 and say the board expressly voted not to allow that.
Okay, so you asked the question, and Mr. Vance has the floor.
Well, the policy is in keeping with the executive order, and the skinny on that reads very clearly, the presidential executive order keeping men out of women's sports prohibits male competitive participation in female sports. This is to include transgender females. Therefore, males and students identifying as transgender females may not participate on a girls' sports team other than cheerleading. As I researched this, I got a caution light, and I think Mr. Bowman and Mr. Street, I may be leaving somebody out. Why are we licking this calf over the second time when we already have an effective policy? And I have high regard for the Virginia High School League and its policies, which I will gladly distribute now. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir.
Page 1 in the first paragraph, girls may not compete on boys' teams and boys may not compete on girls' teams. And my reliance on the Virginia High School League is because it's their job. It's their job to set the guidelines for eligibility, and that's what we're talking about. Who's eligible to participate in what, in conduct, and to govern competition. The Virginia High School League was founded in 1913. Woodrow Wilson was president. I remember it very clearly because I voted against him. And I'm not very good at math, Ms. Campbell, but 1913, 2025 that's more than a century that the Virginia High School League, am I right on my math?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I'll take that as a second. And they govern more than 300 schools here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And they organize competition for athletes as well as scholastic competition. Their policy is very, very detailed. Take a look at what I gave you. There are exceptions not noted in the proposed policy. Cheerleading, for example. Baseball and softball are not comparable. Girls can try out for baseball according to the Virginia High School League. There's an appeals process. It is a 3-step process governed by the Virginia High School League. If an appeal is made, it starts at the district level. And I hang my hat on the nail of the Virginia High School League. There's no compelling reason to alter what we already have in place. What is the compelling reason? The Virginia High School League, as I said, they govern. Now, let me say this while I have the microphone. The trolls that are out there need to stop hiding behind their keyboard and meet me one-on-one. I'll buy the coffee. I'll buy the tea. Let's sit down like human beings and talk about this instead of filling up my email. Come see me in person. Show me you're a real person. Wouldn't it be interesting if one of the trolls was transgender, that he was posing as a woman or vice versa? Wouldn't that be ironic? So the trolls need to stop. Let's sit down and have a reasonable discussion. As Lyndon Johnson said, come, let us reason together. And quit hiding behind your keyboard. Since we had plowed this ground previously, was the impetus for me to dig a little deeper and to look into what the Virginia High School League had to say. I met with people in the athletic departments, not all of them, but one that I trust, and a principal and others, and they say stay firm with what we got. That's the end of my comments.
Mr. Vance, I do have a question for you.
Excuse me.
I can't ask a question.
Everybody gets a chance to speak once before second
Ask me a
speaking.
question.
So, have you spoken this round yet?
I'm good. The vote's done. It's done.
I'm sorry.
I'm good.
You want the floor?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
I think Mr. Barlow and Mr. Vance have covered it, but just to be clear, the way it's laid out right now, biological boys are not playing in sports in Virginia. It's not happening. It's not happening.
It has happened. It happened in Prince William County.
It's not happening. What we have right now, the guidance from the Youngkin and Trump administrations is in line with Title IX. And again, we've talked about this multiple times, and there's a reason that over and over again, these lawyers that we've asked continue to say, we probably shouldn't go forward with this. What we have already in place is effective, and it protects our female athletes, it treats the boys and girls fairly, and protects Shenandoah County Public Schools from any legal issues. So again, you know, for whatever number of times this is, I don't see the purpose of continuing to discuss it when we've gotten these opinions from hired lawyers of the school board, and they continue to say the same thing. This is unnecessary. The policy you have in place is effective, and you know, again, that's what I'm sticking to.
Mr. Street, you haven't spoken yet. Do you wish to speak?
Yes. Simply, it kind of seems like, I don't know, but to me, personally, it just seems like it gets messier and messier. But I just simply, you know, I just simply have to take the advice from the lawyers that we retain, and that's why we hire them. And I have to take their advice on this, and that's just, I don't see it any other way. This issue that we deal with in society and in the state. How am I supposed to not take their advice? That's all.
Okay. Mr. Colonial.
Okay, yeah, so, it's pretty much beating a dead horse here, but I guess to answer that question, this was the advice of the lawyer. I mean, the evidence that I supplied were actually what the lawyer did supply. So if we were actually listening to him, we would have passed that. But I do have a couple of answers that I wanted to some of the questions that were just asked. You know, why are we doing this again? Well, the simple answer is we're doing this again because Mr. Barlow just submitted, and we all passed unanimously, resolution that was actually asking the VHSL to do this. So that's why this was brought up again. My other question is, you know, why not just follow the VHSL? Well, I'll tell you what. The reason is actually quite simple. As we know from the VHSL, up until February, actually, February of this year, actually, it may have been May when they actually had it was May. The VHSL policy was exactly the opposite. It was actually promoting transgender students from actually participating in sports. So transgender students who were male, who thought were girls, were actually allowed. So, Mr. Gottschalk, you're wrong. There were some of those here in Virginia. In fact, that student from San Jose State, the famous, infamous student that was the volleyball player, was from either Prince William or Loudoun County. So they actually came from Virginia. So we know that the VHSL policy was exact opposite of what it is right now. The reason it was changed was because of the executive order from President Trump. And the way it happens, because they are a private nonprofit organization, is that they can just say, oh, Trump just passed that executive order, we don't want to be in violation. And in fact, I have a whole entire article on this, saying we are not a league or an organization that wants to be in contempt of the law or not follow the law. With a presidential executive order, we felt that we needed to do this. So what they did is they just called a meeting and they went ahead and changed everything. They can change that just as easily again if we have a different governor in Richmond, or if we have a different president in the United States. So that is why we as a school board are supposed to be taking policies and not just simply rely on a private organization that is passing these laws, or these policies rather. But my question again to you and to everybody else is, again, I still don't understand and have not gotten an answer from anybody on this board as to why it is legal and okay for the DHSL to establish these policies, but not for us. And again, I read from Billy Hahn, the executive director of the DHSL, on May 5th, who said, we're not a league or an organization that wants to be in contempt of the law or not follow the law. So clearly they are following the law, at least to the best of their knowledge. We're trying to do the same thing, and this board is arguing that it's not. So, I still don't have the answer for that. Like Mr. Rickard said, it's just pretty useless as it is in terms of debate, but it would be nice to have that answer.
Any other comments? We'll give Ms. Carlini a final word, but I would like to say something because I think there's been some obfuscation about what our current lawyer has said in his recommendations, so I'd like to read it. Law and analysis. The proposed additions to Section 3H of Policy JFHAB, GVAB are largely redundant from a legal standpoint in terms of both legal interpretation and practical application. They also open venues for challenges to the policy under Title IX and the Equal Protection Clause. Do not exist under the current gender-neutral language. Now, if we think we're going to have a problem with a different governor under the current Youngkin model, I can guarantee we're going to get action under a different governor if it's in the Democratic Party, if we would pass such a different version, a more aggressive version that, according to our lawyer, is very likely to identify us as a lawsuit vulnerable policy. I think that under this Attorney General and under this administration and our VDOE, we've made great strides, and I think it's remarkable that we've had this policy in place for over a year and a half. As far as I know, there have been no law cases in the state of Virginia. And we're doing really well, cooking right along, except I want to piggyback on something Mr. Vance has said, except that we've eaten up how many hours in the last year and a half going over this policy? 3, 4 times. And here we are, it's turned dark again, talking about the same thing. We had a perfectly good, acceptable policy, and why we want to go retread it, I don't know. I'll also piggyback on something that Mr. Kutchall said, which is that the fact that we really have done this and been successful with it and have been able to realize that in our county and even in our state, there was very little chance of these kind of aberrations coming. And what we've done with the last few things we passed was the regulations have been so stringent in what we've done that we've done an enormous job of kind of making sure these heinous things don't happen because we have lots of triggers and lots of controls. So even with all those, why aren't we willing to trust our staff to go forward and do the right things since we've given them a policy that has teeth in it? It seems that we've got the law, we've got the regulations, we've got the personnel. Let's go out and play some sports and have some fun and get on to educational and academic pursuits instead of, you know, doing the transgender model version 4. So anyway, any final words? Roll call vote.
Well, let's hear the motion again.
I move to approve changes to the policy JFHAB/GBAB, privacy, dignity, and respect for all students and parents in Shenandoah County Public Schools as presented.
The key is I approve changes. So just be real careful so we don't slide into the ditch over the bank and down the creek. That make sure your verbiage and everything, what you're voting for, doesn't erase the previous policy. So the verbiage again is what?
I move to approve changes to the policy JFHAB/GBAB, privacy, dignity, and respect for all students and parents in Shenandoah County Public Schools as presented.
Okay. So basically it's a motion that there are no changes because we killed them all. So my concern was we were gonna mess around and flip the whole policy upside down, which we are not. So.
Well, that's a good caution, and I would.
Yeah, no, we're not going through this again.
Right. So
let's not.
I'll second that motion.
Amen, brother. And, you know, let's not in our zeal erase everything we did at previous meetings. So that's why I'm trying to put the brakes on.
That's why
But it's written changes, and there are none. So
right. The two proposed changes were paragraphs 2 and 3, which are underlined in the proposal, and they simply would not be enacted.
correct. So okay.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. For the parliamentarian, is there even any point in going through this since we just went through breaking them down into 2 separate amendments?
You got a motion we got to handle. So
Excuse me, but we did vote on the 2 proposed.
yeah.
So to me, it's a dead issue. Why are we?
Well, we just went back to the original.
Yeah, you do have to
And
dispose
vote
of
on that.
your motion. So it's kind of a moot point. But I want to make sure that so you're.
I think Ms. Carlenio had originally read the original motion, I moved to amend policy, but then had changed the statement after some discussion to, I moved to approve changes.
Well, the original motion was Mr. Ricker's policy. Then after that, I moved for the amendment.
Right, yeah.
So I guess we're now back to the original one, which would be Mr. Ricker's policy. So now I think we need to vote on Mr. Ricker's policy. I mean, unless we're gonna have debate and all that, which I'm assuming we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I think it was the change of the original proposed
Yes. You
suggestion.
had this original proposal, and then this motion, you wanted to change up here.
Yeah, remember the very first motion was the one where originally it said amend, but then you rightly called out that it shouldn't be amend, that it should be the revision. But we never voted on that because then I introduced the amendment. So then we voted on the amendments. Now we're back to the original revision that Mr. Rickard had already submitted. So I guess we need to vote on Mr. Rickard's original policy revision.
All right, we clear on, we should all have the original there because it hasn't been amended. And Cheryl, you believe you've got it? So it's just that H2 and H3 that would be either adopted or expunged based on the vote.
So is the statement the way I have it is correct?
Yes.
Okay. So are you ready to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Street?
No.
Ms. Carlinio?
Yes.
Mr. Gutschall?
No.
Mr. Vance?
No.
Mr. Rickard?
Yes.
And Mr. Barlow?
That would be a no. So the proposal fails 4-2. Next action item is a request to name Signal Knob Middle School football field in honor of James Jimbo Stout. Do we have a motion to that effect?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion, but first of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Shannon Campbell, the president of the Midget Football League in the area. She's in attendance tonight. I'd like to thank her for being here. I would like to make the motion to move to name Signal Knob Middle School football field in honor of James Jimbo Stout and make it James Jimbo Stout Field.
Thank you, Mr. Rickard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Street. Any discussion? All right. We have to do a roll call on this, Cheryl? Can we just do a voice vote?
It's up to you.
Well, I think we should just vote orally. So all those in favor of changing or naming Signal Knob Middle School football field for James Jimbo Stout, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? Passes unanimously. And then, as we had, as Kaylin has earlier briefed us on the request to increase FY 2026 special budget. In the, it's, what was the bottom line on that, Kaylin?
$23,726.
Okay, $23,726. All right. Once again, do I have a motion to that effect?
Move to approve the request and increase the fiscal year 2025 special budget by $23,726 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Gutschall. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rickard. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Once again, a unanimous result. And the superintendent's report, or monthly report.
Thank you. I just have a few things. I would like to acknowledge that we welcome our students back to school on Tuesday, and it was a wonderful start to the school year. It was great to see so many smiling faces walk through the door, staff and students included, and it was great to see the excitement for the 2025-2026 school year. Our FCCLA chapters from Strasburg, Central, Stonewall Jackson, Signal Knob, and North Fork participated in the National FCCLA Conference, Leadership Conference in Orlando in July. The students engaged in hands-on learning, listened to an inspiring keynote speaker, and participated in breakout sessions focused on leadership, and they also competed in events. So we're proud of our FCCLA students. On the open house, Ashby Lee celebrated their new courtyard with a ribbon cutting ceremony. It was a great opportunity to thank the staff and students and community members who helped make the project a reality. Our students are going to have a great time in that new space this year. And then finally, Mr. Street started this off with our moment of silence this evening, but we continue to mourn the loss of Todd Lynn. He was a great asset to Shenandoah County Public Schools. He was a huge source of energy, and we are going to miss him tremendously. The outpouring of support has been overwhelming, and there are thousands of kids who have felt the impact of Mr. Lynn here in Shenandoah County, and we were so lucky to have him for as long as we did. There will be a celebration of life for Todd Lynn on Saturday, August the 23rd at Crosslink Community Church in Harrisonburg, and all who love Todd are welcome to attend, and I hope to see everyone there. That is all.
That's all, okay. School board member comments. I was looking at you first.
Well, I had some questions for Dr. Shepard about the her monthly report. Do you have any updates on the HVAC at Sandy Hook yet?
So I know we are meeting with Train first of next week on HVAC.
What about the security grant?
So the security grant was submitted last week of July. I'm going to say the 29th. I'm not sure that that's correct, but close to the last week of July. And on their website, they said as soon as they know who received the grants, then they will inform the recipients of those grants. So there's not a date. I do know that that money has to be spent by the middle of March of 2026. So the likelihood that we'll get information on if we received a grant will be December, but hopefully before then.
One more thing, the Stonewall Jackson roof.
Mm-hmm.
Any repairs being done on that right now?
So that roof will be done this coming summer. We focused most of our attention on the roof at W.W. Robinson Elementary School this year because the leaks were fairly significant there over the last year. That roof was the one that needed to be replaced, and it takes a while. So I think that was on the CIP, on the money that was given to us towards the end of June. And it takes a while to get crews ready to go and to replace a flat roof, and it takes time to replace that flat roof as well. So that'll be work that's done over the summer, likely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I had the good fortune to attend the new teacher orientation on July the 30th over at Peter Muhlenberg Middle School. It seemed like a very good crop of new teachers based on their energy and enthusiasm and the many smiles I saw on their faces. And I hope I can sit here in May and tell you that they're still smiling. Anyway, who all had a hand in the new teacher orientation. Job well done. Very, very nice event.
Thank you, LB. Mike?
For my board member comments, I just want to welcome all the kids back to school, welcome the staff back. And I want to thank all the hard work that was done over the summer with not only summer school, but getting the carpet ripped up at the elementary schools and putting the tile down. I applaud those that were involved in that. Other than that, praying for a safe, productive school year. Thank you.
Tom, do you have any comments?
Sure. Just real quick. I just need to say and point out that it's a tremendous loss losing Todd, and I tell people over and over. I was really looking forward to working with him. I always enjoyed working with him, and was really looking forward to working with him. Just a great person. Always, like Dr. Shepard pointed out, so energetic. And I tell people. He understood how it worked. He understood what it takes, how it works, what you need, and I was always so impressed with that. And he's going to be very missed. And I feel so sorry for the family. I just can't imagine being in their shoes. So we just have to continue to think about them, and hopefully the students can be able to move forward, and it's going to be tough. I'm sure everywhere where they look around in that school that, you know, they think of him. So hopefully they'll find the strength to move forward. And I want to thank the people that have helped out, that have stepped up to the plate. Obviously temporarily, but they've answered the phone call from Dr. Shepard, and I want to thank those individuals for stepping up and helping us out until we can find someone or replace the replacement there. I want to thank the staff, all the staff, for getting ready for another school year, and thank all the teachers and the start of another school year, and wish everybody the best. Welcome the new teachers, and the only thing else I got is don't forget the fair's coming up. So it's good, and I tell people it's good, clean country fun. So come out and enjoy the fair. It's coming up real soon, and you'll see some difference down in the livestock department. So come down there and check it out. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mrs. Carlini.
Yes, I first want to welcome all the students and staff and teachers back. I'm hoping that this will be a great year. I'm excited for all the things that we are doing and other things that you guys are doing. So I'm hoping that that it will be a great year for everybody. Now, I just had a couple comments just based on some of the concerns that were raised in there by our constituents, and also some of the comments that Mr. Street actually made during his invocation, as well as for this debate today. Certainly drove it home. I first wanted to say that retention, from what we hear today, retention is much better for our teachers this year. I think we actually did a lot better than we did last year, so that is actually good news, that we were able to retain a lot more teachers, and our vacancies this year are substantially less than they were last year, right? So that's actually really good news. I was thinking about a conversation that I recently had. I overheard this. It was 3 Australian men, and 2 of them were, one of them is a teacher, one is a former teacher. And it was interesting because they were talking about how the one was going to be starting primary school, and he was really not looking forward to going back to school in Australia. And then the other one kind of chimed in and said, yeah, I'm a former student, I'm a former teacher, taught for 7 years, I just couldn't take it anymore, so stopped teaching. So we're talking about 2 teachers in Australia that were complaining, and it sounded a whole lot like a lot of our teachers here in the U.S. sound. So I kind of asked them, I said, well, so what's the problem? What was the issue up in Australia? And what was surprising was, it was a lot of the same things we have here. It had to do, the number one was with the workload that the teachers are facing. The other one had to do with the student behavior. Another one had to do with the violence that they're seeing. So, not say that it made me feel better, because it's still bad, but at least it was something that we have a shared problem that is not just here in the United States, but even internationally. And we hear that this is also happening in other countries like England and in Europe. What was interesting is one of them, the one that was not a teacher, was talking about how they look, he was trying to say, what he thinks is a problem. And he talked a lot about the breakdown of the family. He talked a lot about just abandoning religion and abandoning the walk with God, which was really interesting because he said that he was an agnostic, that he was a former Catholic, but that even him as an agnostic thought that separation from a walk with God or the influence of Christianity actually had an adverse effect on how the students were behaving and how society overall was crumbling. And it was really interesting because he actually said to me, knowing that I was from the U.S., he said, we see the U.S. as a beacon of light. He said that they're watching, that they're always looking, that they see us as the hope of what can be done. And it made me think about our little community here where we do a lot of things right. Obviously we have a lot of issues, and there's a lot of things that we're trying to address. I still think social media has a lot to do with that. I think cell phones, I think the disintegration of the family, we have a lot of other issues that we have to deal with. But at least we are targeting them, and we're trying to make those things better. So again, it's interesting because I know, you know, a lot of people like to leave religion outside, but I think there is a correlation, and I can tell you this is what guides a lot of the things that I want to do, and certainly the discussion today had to do with that, and you know, helping our students just follow the path and be able to lead a good childhood and have the innocence that most of us had when we were kids is actually very important. So I look forward to this year being able to work on a lot of those issues and hopefully help our students and keep building up our nation and be the beacon of light that others, not just in this country but around the world, need to have.
Thank you. Mr. Gutschall.
Yeah, I was thinking about, you know, Mr. Lynn. Shared this story with somebody the other day, back when Dennis and Brandy and I got on the board. It felt like it was one of the first meetings. Todd was there, and you know, you and I didn't know Todd before, and Brandy I'm sure didn't either. But I do remember mentioning, some people were here, something to the effect of, you know, I could really tell how much he liked his job or loved his job or whatever. And that was when he was in a little bit of a different role, before he took over as the principal and head, you know, administrator at Triplet. But you know, there was never a day where he wasn't showing how much he loved what he did. And you know, really thinking back on it, we got to see him on July 10th, and that was the last time that many of us in this room got to see him, when he presented to the board talking about Triplet, and when they were talking about the workforce program at Laurel Ridge. So you know, we were very fortunate looking back, being able to see him that day. Still had his same energy and enthusiasm. So such a tremendous loss for our school division. You know, you don't find people like him everywhere, and obviously it'll be impossible to replace him. And thoughts and prayers with the Triplet staff and the students and his family. Hopefully, and I'm sure there will be a tremendous showing at his celebration in a couple weeks, celebration of life in a couple of weeks. So just awful to have to lose somebody like that. Such a great leader for our school division. The other thing, you know, excited for the school year and everything that goes into it. I think we continue to have a lot of good momentum with the way that we're trying to continue pushing for high achievement and working on discipline as much as we can. You know, we still get reports of disciplinary issues, but I think there have been a lot of improvements, and we continue to move forward with that. So looking forward to a great school year. I know it was a great start to the year for the first couple of days, and can't wait to see what all goes on this year.
Thank you. That's Kyle. I'd like to chip in a little bit about my experience with Todd. I think it's very seldom you see somebody with that kind of passion, integrity, and still being like really down to earth. You felt welcome and comfortable with him. At the same time, you could discuss high-ranging things, and it wasn't a lot of pressure, and it just really flowed. And you could just see him exude that kind of friendliness and magnetism with the kids and people around him. And it was just a treat to watch. And I find it very interesting. You mentioned his last time here. He looks so radiant and strong. I was thinking that this guy's got health problems, but look at him, you know. And so I'm kind of glad I remembered him that last evening. It was really special to me. I was really impressed with meeting the new teachers. What a group! They really. I've been in diplomacy a lot of years, and I've had some old Sauls tell me, you know, you can smell the integrity, and you can smell badness and goodness when you go around the world places. But that was a really good feeling, just being among those new teachers. They were ready to go, I tried to stay up with what the superintendent was doing this summer, but I couldn't do it. And I just realized how much energy goes into opening a school properly. And as a teacher, we used to take summers off I don't believe how much you guys got done over the summer, but great job in doing that. And my goal over the next several months is to deal with the bottom line of education. We've done so many things to try to prepare our school with attendance and keeping the phones out and keeping the kids here and getting the drugs out of their hands and doing discipline, which all leads us to education. And if we don't do anything with all that, if we don't raise the academic level of these kids, if we don't challenge them so that later in life they say, you know, kid, I'm not going to forget that algebra teacher, history teacher, English teacher, because I read this, never would have read it for. We have a generation of kids who can't read, or won't read, because of COVID, at least the way we dealt with COVID. We have a bunch of kids in our classes who won't even talk to each other because they're afraid to talk. They're afraid that what they say is going to be challenged by somebody else, or that they shouldn't get their views out there. And so it's I can't imagine being a social studies teacher and try to have a discussion and having a bunch of kids who are just afraid to speak up. Getting that research going, getting that dialogue in class going, and it's not easy. I mean, how do you teach critical thinking? But we got to do it. We got to do it. And we got to find the people in the kids in our school who are ready for that and up to that challenge. And so the Youngkin concept, of increasing expectations means that we have to increase our challenge to these guys, and it's not going to be easy. It's not easy for teachers. It's not easy for administrators, but it is why we're here. So I'm hoping, with all the other things aren't peripherals, but they're not the key. And the key is to use all those other things as the environment in which we can grow this wonderful educational garden. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of that actually bloom this year and see some academic sprouts coming up. Okay. So that's all I have. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Gutschall. Second.
Second.
Mr. Rickard, thank you. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned at 8:42.